I once lived peacefully believing that HBO could do no wrong. Then they decided to remove the HBO from HBO Max.
Leave me alone! Akira!
What's going on, everybody? Critical Crackpot here, and today I want to talk about home box office entertainment, aka HBO. You know them, you love them, they're probably home to one of your favorite shows right now like stupid-ass Euphoria or The Last of Us fan fiction. They're probably the most consistent premium television channel that regularly puts out quality content, but my biggest pet peeve of theirs is their bizarre tendency to produce some baffling misfires. Look at HBO's Westworld, for example, a steaming pile of woke garbage that stunk so bad, HBO completely scrubbed it off their own streaming service. Or HBO's Winning Time, a show that depicted the humble beginnings of the Showtime Lakers, and it actually sounded somewhat intriguing on paper, but in retrospect, it fell flat for me as an avid basketball nut. I guess what I'm trying to say is that HBO, for me at least, can either be one of two things, hit or miss. Regardless of what I might think of them, however, it's undeniable that HBO has variety, and more often than not, their hits almost always outweigh their misfires. Their television catalog is one that other premium channels can only dream of, and they regularly produce some hard-hitting juggernauts that drastically push the television medium forward.
Y'all named your daughter after Titanic?
It's Cassie's favorite movie.
Oh, wow. You gotta be shitting me. What's his name? Shrek?
In my mind, these hard-hitting juggernauts have carved out their spot on the metaphorical HBO Mount Rushmore, and now among their greatest hits rises another show that managed to accomplish the impossible. In just a short amount of time, this show has easily cemented itself as a force to be reckoned with, mainly because of its sharp writing, cunning dialogue, and commanding performances that elevate these fully rounded characters. With all that being said, I think I'm finally finished with this intro, so let me tell you how I really feel about Succession. HBO's Succession is one of the most riveting dramas that's ever been put on television. On the surface, Succession is a bunch of business speak and double speak stacked on top of each other, but underneath, it's an exploration about a disgusting desire for power. Following the neglected children of the brutish media mogul Logan Roy,
oh, fuck off.
Succession is exactly what it sounds like. Who among Logan's children, as well as his top employees, will assume the seat of power and carry on his legacy? Obviously, everyone has their eye on the throne, from Kendall to Greg, and even all the way down to rat fucker Sam. Succeeding Logan and continuing his legacy is about more than just being CEO. For his kids, it's their birthright, and each of them feel entitled to it. As we saw with Succession's series finale, however, we learned that none of Logan's kids were ever suited to succeed him, and the episode prior to his death, he made sure they knew it.
I love you, but you are not serious people.
Throughout the show, it's pretty obvious that Logan's children, as grown as they are, still act like children. You've got Kendall repeatedly trying and failing miserably to overthrow his father for the throne of Waystar. You got Shiv blindsiding the one person who genuinely loves her with an open relationship policy on their wedding night.
On our wedding night? Bang! Shanghaied into a open borders free trade deal.
And of course, Roman, the one who botches rocket launches and sends dick pics to dinosaurs.
She's 1,000,000 years old. It's fucking disgusting. You're a laughingstock.
The only sibling who actually understands what kind of person his father truly is also happens to be the eldest boy.
I'm the eldest boy!
No, not you. The one who was interested in politics from a very young age.
Hey, if you want to print something in your little book, you may print the following line. Connor Roy was interested in politics at a very young age.
Although Connor Roy never had the makings of a varsity athlete, or a US president for that matter, he's the only sibling that doesn't need his father's love, or love in general, because he learned to live without it. Even though he had unrealistic dreams of grandeur, he's still the only sibling who perfectly understands the kind of father Logan really is. He's a ferociously cold-hearted corporate brute who basically views his children as dogs. And Connor confirms this late in season 1.
He was asking about the dog pound, and you got kind of riled up.
Is he still talking about that?
Yeah.
It's pathetic.
Yeah. He enjoyed it, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you did too.
You know, just messing around. Yeah, just messing around. Dad's theory was you got two fighting dogs, you send the weak one away. You punish the weak one, then everyone knows the hierarchy, then everyone's happy. So, away he went.
The dog allegory is actually pretty intriguing because it tells us that Logan was the kind of father who instilled competition among his children in an attempt to breed a potential successor. Naturally, that would mentally screw with anyone if they had to deal with that their entire life, and it clearly seems like it affected the siblings' core relationship. All throughout the show, even up until the very end, the siblings could never fully trust each other, and most of that stems from their insatiable thirst for Logan's love. In one of the most brutal scenes of the series, Connor calls his siblings out for it.
The good thing about having a family that doesn't love you is you learn to live without it.
What? Connor, that's
You're all
not...
chasing after Dad saying, oh, love me, please love me. I need love, I need attention.
Well, I think that's the opposite of what just happened.
You're needy love sponges. And I'm a plant that grows on rocks and lives off insects that die inside of me.
When it mattered most during the board meeting, Shiv couldn't vote for Ken as CEO because it would mean he succeeded and won his father's affection, something she ultimately wanted, but never truly got. In the last nice moment the siblings shared with each other during the virtual dinner, they got to see a side of Logan in his last days when he was warm, kind, and loving, but they never got to experience that side of him, and when they eventually did, it was already too late. In my opinion, the siblings never realistically wanted the job as CEO, maybe except for Kendall, but having the title meant that that particular sibling was the one who was rightfully worthy of Logan's love and affection. Series creator Jesse Armstrong had a really cool outlook on the sibling story beyond the ending, saying, they don't end. They will carry on, but it's sort of where this show loses interest in them because they've lost what they've wanted, which was to succeed this prize their father held out. In the end, the "you're not serious people" line hits harder knowing that none of the siblings won. Kendall will most likely be remembered for trying to metaphorically kill his father time and time again, and now with Logan's best friend Colin around, Kendall will always be reminded of his past failures as he can never escape from his father's long-casting shadow. Out of the three siblings, Roman will probably fare best because he's finally escaped his father's grasp and he can live a free and freaky life on his own terms. With Gojo unfortunately swallowing Waystar, Romulus will receive a generous payday that'll set him up for life, and his cockeyed smile seemingly insinuates that he'll be just fine. Shiv the Snowflake was surprisingly relegated to a housewife, and after all the unsuccessful attempts to break into Waystar and ingratiate herself, she ends up exactly like her mother Caroline, and she's the reason for the word bitch.
Bitch!
In spite of being emotionally distant from Tom, Shiv did secure a nice future for herself and her baby at the expense of her happiness. The one person who technically won was Tom, being an outsider who managed to climb his way up the corporate ladder by eating pieces of shit for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No, sorry.
Although it seemed like a happy ending for Terminal Tom, he's technically Waystar's newest puppet, and Lucas Matson is holding the strings. Even though Tom holds the righteous title of CEO, what kind of power does he really have? Matthew McFadden, who plays Tom, put it simply. While being interviewed about the ending, he commented on Tom's win by saying, "It's a funny thing, because it's not winning anything. I mean, that's sort of missing the point by a million miles. Not to be literal, but it's like, winning what? It's just another move in a corporate nightmare."
Greg? Are you kidding?
Hey, Tom.
Forgive me, but we talking to each other on the poop deck of a majestic schooner? Is the salty brine stinging my weather-beaten face? No? Then why the fuck are you wearing a pair of deck shoes now?
Oh, yeah, no.
There's a lot more I could talk about, like character relationships and the stunning handheld cinematography that acts almost like its own character, but I want to shine a light on something that I particularly love about Succession. music.
Honesty is such a lonely word.
Aside from some of the licensed music that Kendall sings in the show, composer Nicholas Britell's original score gives Succession a distinct Shakespearean atmosphere that heightens the dramatic tension. Ideally, I'd like to play as much of it as I could, but Caroline isn't the only reason for that word we talked about.
Bitch!
In closing, I believe Succession is one of television's greatest triumphs because of its memorable cast, its endless replay value, its striking cinematography, and of course, its beautifully textured music. Now that it's over, I declare Succession as one of my favorite television shows, and the fact that it only ran for a total of 39 episodes is a testament to its quality. As much as I wish this show went on for just a little longer, I'm glad it went out on a high note and ended on its own terms, like I'm about to do with this video. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about Succession's ending, but that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching, and always remember,
you can't make a tomlet without breaking some Greggs.